Hey everyone, in this video we are going to talk about solving a system of equations with two variables by the elimination method. So to eliminate is to cancel out one or more of the variables in an equation. So to totally get rid of the x's or to totally get rid of the y's. To solve by elimination, the first thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that both equations are written in standard form. Standard form is ax plus or minus by equals c, where a, b, and c are just numbers. From there, we are going to multiply one or both equations by some number. The goal here is to get the exact same number that's in front of the x's for both or the y's for both, except for the positive version and the negative version. So for example, 2 and negative 2, or negative 13 and positive 13. The reason why we do this is because when we get to step 3, it allows us to totally eliminate either the x or the y, because we treat it like one big addition problem. And when we add down, like you learned how to do in elementary school, negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Positive 13 plus negative 13 is 0. It totally eliminates the variable, which means we'll only have one variable that we need to solve for. After we solve for that one variable, we are going to substitute it into the original equation, one of them, solve for that variable, and then like we did in the substitution method, we check our answer and write it as an ordered pair. So for this first example, we can choose to focus either on the numbers in front of the x's or on the numbers in front of the y's. I typically start with the smaller numbers first. So for example, 2x and negative 10. This is really nice for us because the first one is already positive and the second one is already negative. What we want to ask ourselves then is, what do I need to multiply by? I would get in the habit of checking the smaller number and seeing if it goes into the bigger number first. It's a little bit less work that way. You would only have to multiply one of the equations. If I multiply the first equation by 5, 5 times 2x is going to give us 10x. 5 times 5y is going to give us 25y. And 5 times negative 1 is going to give us negative 5. And then I just rewrite the second equation. In doing this, what you'll notice when you look at the x's is that I have a positive 10 and I have a negative 10, so I can treat it like a giant addition problem. When I add down, 10x and negative 10x is going to give me 0x. They eliminate. 25y and negative 30y is going to give me negative 5y. And negative 5 and 10 is going to give me positive 5. From there, it's a quick one-step equation. I divide negative 5y by negative 5 to get that y equals negative 1. After you've found one, it turns into a substitution problem. I can substitute it into the first or the second equation. I'm going to substitute it into the first because I have smaller numbers and it'll be a little bit less work. So I have 2x plus 5 times y, or 5 times negative 1, equals negative 1. That's 2x minus 5 equals negative 1. I add my 5 over, so 2x equals 4. I divide by 2, and I get that x equals 2. Just like we did in the substitution method, you have to go back and check both of your answers. So I plug it into equation 1 and into equation 2. So that's 2x, or 2 times 2, plus 5 times y, or 5 times negative 1, equals negative 1. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. 4 minus 5 gives us negative 1, so we're good on that one. I also need to plug it into the second equation. So negative 10x, or negative 10 times 2, minus 30 times y, or 30 minus negative 1, equals 10. Negative 2 times 10, that's negative 20. Negative 30 times negative 1 becomes positive 30, equals 10. Negative 20 plus 30, I get the same answer, so I write it as an ordered pair. X value followed by the y value, 2, negative 1. All right, the first thing you're going to notice in the second one is I am not in standard form. So I'm going to rewrite both of my equations. This is negative 11x minus 4y equals 36. And the second one is negative 10x minus 10y equals 20. If I look at my x's, negative 11 and 10, the smallest number that both of them divide into is 110. That's pretty large. We're going to focus on the y's this time. 4 and 10 both go into the number 20, which means I need to multiply each of these by something so that 4y becomes 20 and that 10y becomes 20. The other thing that we're going to think about too is they're both negative, so one of them needs to get multiplied by a negative number. I'm going to choose the first one. 4 times 5 is 20, and I'm going to make it the negative 5 so that it becomes the positive version. And in the second one, 10 times 2 is 20. So for the first one, when I multiply, negative 5 times negative 11 becomes positive 55x. 4y times negative 5 becomes positive 20y. And then I have a positive 36 times a negative 5. That's going to give me a negative 180. For the second one, negative 10 times 2, that's negative 20x. 2 times negative 10y, that's minus 20y. And 2 times 20 is 40. Remember, this is still equation 1. This is still equation 2. All I've done here is manipulate them. So it's one giant addition problem. 55x plus negative 20x is 35x. Positive 20y and negative 20y cancel out. And then 180, negative 180 plus 40, that's negative 140. From here, all we do is divide by 35. And I'm going to get that x equals negative 4. I take that negative 4 and I plug it in to either the first or the second equation. I would not plug it in to either of the equations that's been multiplied because you've made the numbers larger. Plug it into either 1 or 2 originally. I'm going to choose number 1. So that's negative 4y minus 11 times x, which x is negative 4, equals 36. That's negative 4y. Negative 11 times negative 4 becomes positive 44, equals 36. From here, I'm going to subtract 44. So negative 4y equals negative 8. Divide by negative 4. Y equals positive 2. Last thing that we have to do, as always, is check our work. And once again, we're plugging it into our original equations. So negative 4 times 2 minus 11 times negative 4 equals 36. That's plugging in for equation 1. That gives me negative 8 plus 44 equals 36. Negative 8 plus 44 is 36. 36 equals 36. We're good on the first one. When I plug into the second one, 20 equals negative 10 times negative 4 minus 10 times 2. Negative 10 times negative 4 becomes positive 40. Negative 10 times 2 is negative 20. 40 minus 20 is 20. We're good on that one. We write our final answer as an ordered pair. So my x value, negative 4, comma, my y value, 2.